Hey, Bang lawyers, welcome to the podcast. Today we are going to have a conversation with Mr. Keshav, Mr. Pushkar Keshamurthy. Hi, Pushkar. What's up?
Hi, Prasanna. It's no worries that you mistook my name. That really happens in courts as well. So
Oh,
I'm delighted to be here.
okay. Great to have you, and pardon me for that name mistake. But again, so Pushkar is an advocate from Bangalore, and he's a commercial litigator. But I will let you introduce yourself, Pushkar. Can you just give a brief about what do you do and what are you currently working on?
Sure. As a young advocate based in Bangalore, my primary area of focus is on commercial litigation and arbitration. So it's a dispute resolution chambers that I work with and called Kamal and Banu in Bangalore. So based on my experience, I've done property disputes, real estate transactions, couple of arbitration hearings as well. So I must say I'm quite young to the profession, which I think every lawyer should be till the
Yeah,
date.
yeah. And that's what budding lawyers is for, like young lawyers and practitioners and young law students. So that's nothing new here, at least for the regular listeners, they know it. But we like to have conversations, especially with young lawyers. Obviously, seniors are also welcome, but yeah, that's how this platform had started. So let's start with a commercial litigation. So pe- it usually like I guess it comes under corporate litigation only, but a specific sector, right?
I think I must break the myth here because unlike normal understanding of corporate litigation, commercial litigation is not so. Because
Oh,
you have the Commercial Courts Act,
hmm.
which came into effect from 2015. Now that has been notified in multiple cities. So there are very few disputes which can be referred to Commercial Courts Act, unlike the city civil courts where we can refer any dispute which you want, which are dispute oriented.
Right.
But in commercial courts, there are 17 types of disputes. Let's say partnership agreement, shareholder disputes, or it could be maritime disputes, or it could be corporate litigation as well, which you also mentioned. So it's one of them and not the only. But the threshold for any dispute to be referred for commercial courts should be not less than 3 lakhs. Now that is something that you don't have in normal city civil courts. You can have a dispute worth 10,000 rupees. You can still go before normal courts. But for commercial courts, the amount in dispute should be more than 3 lakhs rupees.
Okay. Then, can I ask you why this separate hierarchy of courts was established when the matters could be referred to civil courts and get it done?
The idea behind this was to ensure that there is a faster mode of dispute resolution from courts, because you always had arbitration, which can definitely do wonders by getting what you want in a shorter span of time. But commercial courts will also give you this almost the same result in a much efficient manner. So therefore, commercial courts was established to ensure that the same dispute which you have could be resolved in a much quicker manner. And there are few judges who will not be well versed with, let's say, maritime law or mercantile disputes, or it could be IPR litigations. So if you have a designated commercial court with trained judges, then it's much easier for the litigants, the advocates, and also the judges themselves, so that the dispute is resolved quickly.
Right. So, would you like you are also a young lawyer, but is it good for a young lawyer to start in commercial courts first to build his practice? Can he build a quick practice over there because the area is so niche and there are specific types of matters only which are referred. So you don't have a vast a region where you have to explore, learn, and read a lot. For example, if you go like a proper civil lawyer or a criminal lawyer, it's a like completely a different game. Like it's an ocean in itself to learn, and that's why you need a lot of experience there to build something. So will this help you, like, because it's a smaller niche?
I must say yes and no, because from personal perspective, I was a general civil practitioner when I started off, but now off late from the past 3 to 4 months is where I'm exclusively dealing with commercial litigation, because as a practitioner, young practitioner, it matters if you know the subject and procedure first. So I would say practicing in general civil courts would be much better than directly jumping into commercial courts. But I must say that for younger practitioners, commercial litigation as what you can specialize is something that you could explore, because this is much faster way that you can learn than the civil litigation. That being said, I would say do the civil litigation first and then come to commercial litigation.
Or you can do it parallel.
Absolutely. That's exactly what we are doing now.
Great. So what is the hierarchy in commercial courts?
Now, in wherever the government has notified this Commercial Courts Act, such as Bombay, Delhi, or Mumbai. Now, when you have a dispute, oh yeah, but we often refer to Bombay, Mumbai. You get that?
Yeah.
Let's say I have a dispute with one of my neighbors, and it's something to do with rent, and it's a commercial property in which I'm the landlord. So when I have the dispute with my tenant, I could probably take them to the commercial courts in Bangalore. Now, if at all I lose in that, or if I have a grievance against one of the interim order, I can go before the High Court. Now, in the normal circumstances, in civil litigation, you exactly do the same thing. But here, you have designated commercial division courts in high courts. So that, let's say there are few high court benches, let's say court number 5, court number 6, which are exclusively for commercial litigations. So your appeal or your next stage of case will not go before any random bench in high court. There will be a designated commercial bench, and that's exactly how it moves up the ladder.
Okay, so even there it's quite faster then, because you have a separate court. So I think even in proper civil court, if we go to, then there is an additional hierarchy, because these rent, if we take this matter like rent car, then there is small causes, I think, like small causes court, there the matter goes first, right? It depends on the matter, but
it depends on the amount involved as well.
Yeah.
Because small cause court, now there are something known as rent court tribunals, or rather rent dispute tribunals, which are there in few states, which is extremely prevalent in Maharashtra. You have a separate legislation for that. That's not the case in every other state. So let's say a rent dispute in Bangalore, it may go before the tribunal, or it may directly go before the courts, commercial courts, depending on the financial nature of it and the commercial nature of it.
So usually these are the lowest layer of the courts, and then if there's an appeal, or as you said, for an interim order, so if you want to take it to the higher court, then it's the city civil court, right?
No, from the city civil court itself is the commercial court. Like how you have high courts designating as separate benches, city courts would have designated few courts as commercial courts. So from these commercial courts, directly you'll go before high court.
No. Yeah.
So you will not go.
Yeah, for commercial courts, this is the hierarchy. I was asking if people go for the rent control, you said these specific courts or small causes. Then after small causes, the appeal is to the city civil, right?
Absolutely.
And so then after the city civil, it's high court and Supreme Court. So there's an additional hierarchy in a general civil court system, which is
correct.
Not there in the civil commercial court.
Exactly.
Okay, so let's come to the procedure now. Like, how do these courts work, and what is the procedure established inside the courtroom? Can you tell us, like, you must have witnessed many courts working, like you must have appeared in this court, right?
Yeah, so unlike the normal city civil courts, there are many procedures which are additionally provided in the commercial courts. For example, let's say you file your suit and you have your plaint. Now, once the pleadings are exchanged, you have something known as statement of admission and denial of documents. Now, this is a stage where, let's say we both are in dispute. You can admit certain documents of mine and I can dispute certain documents of yours. Now, this stage is something that, you will not get in city civil courts or in general context. Apart from this, you also have summary proceedings, which are also there in CPC in normal city civil court. But here, certain commercial courts will also prefer having a summary dispute, which can take place, let's say, in 6 to 8 months, than a normal civil trial, which may take 3 to 4 years. And you also have something known as pre-institution mediation, which is a mandatory requirement before you initiate any civil suit in a commercial court. Now, this, when I say mandatory, there are few judgments of various high courts which have contradicted this view and said it is not mandatory. Of course, that is the position of law, but only when the remedy is not quicker is when you can waive off that pre-institution mediation and you can directly come to the commercial court. If not, you'll have to exhaust your 6 months time in the pre-institution mediation. So these are the couple of distinguishing factors.
And I wanted to know how these courts work. I mean, is there a separate working inside the court? Like, for example, tribunals work differently. There's consumer boards, I guess, right? So these work differently.
Yeah, forums.
So these work differently. So is it like they have certain different working procedure and or it's just like another civil court?
I must say that commercial courts are not different in terms of their secretariat staff or their normal working. But let's say you want a certified copy of a particular order of a commercial dispute. Now, if you have to go before the normal city civil court, it will take a lot of time in you getting that exact certified copy. But that's not the case in commercial courts. At least in Bangalore, this is the case, where if you want something urgently, you will get it urgently. So, which is not the case in city civil courts, where you may have to wait, let's say, for 2 weeks or 3 weeks.
Oh, is it? I didn't know about that. Plus, you need to know how the procedure is of applying and getting that certified copy, because it's different from different courts, right?
Especially from different states as well, because what we follow in Bangalore may not be the case in Delhi.
Exactly.
Now, something that doesn't happen in city courts is that every court master will display a list of 50 old cases which are pending before. Now, that is not to name and shame the parties or the commercial litigants, but just to ensure that these are the 50 old cases ranging from 2005 to 2010, which are not resolved. So they'll make a list of it so that they are taken on a fast track basis. Now, that doesn't happen in normal city courts because that takes, let's say it's a suit for partition. It may take a minimum of 8 years, but that doesn't happen in commercial courts, which on an average, it may take 3 to 4 years.
Right. So have you seen advocates specializing and practicing only in commercial courts? And is it as advisable, especially for young lawyers?
To answer your first question, Prasanna, I have seen many advocates who do this, where they exclusively take up commercial matters and they don't appear in city civil courts. But when I say those advocates would have earlier practiced in normal city civil courts, which means they have the grip over the procedure. They know how litigation works in India. So to answer your second question, whether it's advisable for a younger practitioner to directly jump into commercial litigation, I would say strictly no. At least from my perspective, it helps you to understand from a bigger spectrum. When you see a large variety of disputes, let's say family disputes, which will never go before commercial courts. So therefore, if you do a whole variety of disputes in a normal city civil litigation, and then you jump to commercial litigation, maybe in 3 to 4 months, and you have your parallel practice, I think that would be advisable, because there are certain procedures which overlap in both. Only few things, as I mentioned earlier, will vary in commercial litigation.
Okay. So how many years are you practicing now in commercial and civil litigation?
It's been less than a year. Okay. So I graduated last year. And ever since we had our enrollment and the bar exam, so I've been practicing commercial litigation in Bangalore. So it's been less than 12 months.
Okay. So you started in lockdown itself?
Yeah, unfortunately. Initially, we had to appear in we used to get the link.
Achha.
Yeah. But now, because of the pandemic, We used to be sent the Zoom link or the course link through which we started off, and now in the small break we also had in-person hearings, but now we are back to square one where we have to appear online.
Acha. So, but you must have interned before, right? So you must have visited the courts physically.
Yes, because primarily I've done all my internships in litigations, be it under a senior advocate or under chambers or under a law firm. So since I've primarily done litigation internships in the past during my law school days, stepping into litigation now was not a big nightmare. But as they say, waiting is a pain, and that happens even in online hearings.
Yeah, I mean, I just asked because you know how commercial courts work and all. You have seen personally. That's what I wanted to know.
Yes.
Okay, so technically you have just a year of experience as an advocate, but since you were interning from like you must have two, 3 internships before graduating, and you said that you had it only in litigation most of the time. So from whatever you have learned, can you guide the young lawyers or young law students who are planning to step into this? What are important learnings you gained from any mistakes you made?
So the best thing that I got from my seniors was to always carry the bare act. Now that is something that I did not do in my initial years, let's say in first and second year of my law school, when I did my internships. But later on, I realized that having a bare act of CPC or CRPC or Evidence Act is of utmost importance. So I would strongly recommend having the bare act always, or be it the Constitution of India, if you're practicing in high courts. But a trial litigation is something that, I strongly recommend for anyone who wants to jump into litigation, and then they may have an appellate practice. Apart from this, I followed having a diary which I maintained by writing down remarks of judges, which not many people do. So every time a judge makes a remark in the open court, which are not reflected in the order sheet, let's say he may say, why is there a delay? And the advocate may say, the delay was because of so and so reason. And the judge says, no, this reason cannot be justified. So what the judge is doing is discretionary and based on circumstances. So when you take care of those circumstances and make a note of it, so when you appear before the same judge or probably before a different judge, you'll at least know what are those circumstances which may fall in your line or which may not fall. So having a diary is very much important.
Yeah, and these tips are actually general tips for any person who is stepping into litigation. So just not for commercial or civil litigation. So keep these things in mind, and these are very important things. So guys, whoever is planning to go into litigation, these are like the stepping stones. Okay, are there any courses or LLM programs which you think are very beneficial for young law students who are planning into build their practice in civil commercial litigation?
From what I've experienced so far, I would say an LLM or a master's would not be of great importance for anyone who's stepping into litigation. But there are a couple of advocacy courses and skill sets which you can further develop in the course of your studies, such as if at all you want to do in abroad, you have University of Miami, which offers a fantastic course on it. And there are a couple of courses in London, which offers something known as Bar Proficiency Training Course or the Barrister Training Course called BTC. Now you can check out their websites because it's not as exorbitant as an LLM. And at the same time, you can also have an LLM degree attached to it. So apart from this, many people do not prefer a litigation-oriented course. Rather, they probably prefer a commercial law-oriented course just to fine-tune their commercial knowledge. Now, for that, you can probably choose Columbia or Duke or University of Pennsylvania or LSE or Cambridge or NUS Singapore. So these are a couple of universities which aspiring students can look up to, but they will be only from a theoretical perspective, of course, from transnational and national perspective as well. But from practicality, I would say for litigation oriented, not much courses are available, but there are a couple of online certified courses and diploma courses which are offered by various universities in India. So So that can be of interest for those looking forward to it.
Okay, so Pushkar, you are a certified mediator. You did this course from the Bangalore Mediation Center, if I'm not wrong. So can you tell us something about that?
Sure. So it was an accreditation program offered by BIMAC, which stands for Bangalore International Mediation Arbitration Center. Now, this is something that I was interested from my younger days as well. But while I was doing my traineeship there, I thought, because commercial mediation is the next big thing, and with the coming into force of Singapore Convention on mediation, it has gained significant limelight. So this accreditation will probably aid in my journey in the days to come. So there are a couple of other institutions and organizations which do accredit, the mediators in India. So I strongly recommend BIMAC or Ministry of Corporate Affairs, Government of India, or it could be SAMA, or it could be the camp, which also offers in Bangalore. So there are various courses. I think this is of great importance for younger practitioners.
Okay, so MCA also has offered these courses, such courses, Ministry of Corporate Affairs, you said?
Yes. Yeah. So it's a 40-hour course, which takes place, I think, in the month of April, if I'm not mistaken. But it could be checked upon later. So even they offer a certification course on that.
Okay, I didn't know that. Thanks. Great. Okay, what our last question? Please share an incident from your career which is very memorable to you.
So I must say that in my professional experience in the last year, appearing in Zoom was the most hectic, if I can say, because you may be prepared for a hearing, but you will always find someone who will always Zoom bomb you. So it so happened that I was once appearing, and someone appeared and they said, when is my case being called out? So probably because that person was expressing his anguish on his court clerks or his office clerks, but that was heard while I was making a small mention to the judge, and the judge who was adjudicating this case said, you wait, I'll hear them first. And it so happened that my case was never called again. So it's been almost 2 months. So I've never got a date at all. So this is one of the most memorable experience, which probably would never happen in normal circumstance. But because of the Zoom and because of the online hearings, I think this is quite memorable for me for the years to come.
I was just imagining if this would happen in a physical court hearing, like you are appearing and talking about your case, and the judge says, okay, you wait, let me hear them, and then never come to you. That's strange. Okay, it can only happen in online hearings, yeah, or may happen in physical court also.
Hopefully not.
Okay, nice. Okay, Pushkar, thanks a lot for this amazing conversation and joining us for this podcast.
Thanks for this opportunity, Prasanna. It was a great pleasure of mine.
Yeah, great to have you. And thank you so much for listening to this podcast. If you like this episode, do share this episode with your friends, your colleagues, and also check out our other episodes available here. And do follow us here so that you don't miss out new episodes. Thank you.
Thank you.